what were some relationship myths or myths of the opposite sex you grew up with thinking that had to be broken when you were coming up?
Girls had the cooties.
I think you just heard it wrong. The word was something else.
What is?
You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition Podcast.
Welcome to episode 54 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies, aka the 5 Heartbeats, aka the Starting 5, aka 4 Hubbies in the Possible, 4 Hubbies in a Guarantee. I am your host, Varsinio Hall. And we are here to amplify the voice of the modern Black man. My guys, how are you? How are you? How are you?
Doing fantastic.
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yes, sir.
So we have a pretty fun episode to get to this week. But before we get to the episode, I want to let you know how we know that this episode will be successful. We're talking about adulting. This episode will be successful if we can clearly talk about how to plan for and become a responsible adult. Not that we actually know how to do so, but we made some strides. But to make sure we talk about what they didn't tell us. Well, more specifically, the shit they didn't tell us. Is adulting a thing? Like, when do we think that you became an adult? When did you know you was grown? We're gonna get to all that in a minute. But let me catch up on how y'all were doing. James, you weren't here last week. You grinding, putting in that work. How was your weekend, bro?
It was good overall. Did a lot of studying for a test I have to take coming up. So that's really what my time has been about last week, over the weekend for the most part. But I did have a little time where family came over, got a chance to chill with the sisters and nieces and nephews and all that good stuff. Is always a good time. You got the family around. Most of the time, anyway.
You was on that grill. For the record, for y'all listening, James just be able to cook his ass off. You still got it?
I still got it.
Okay, all right.
I still got it.
So can you attest? Y'all live close to each other. Has he invited you over for some?
No, he don't invite me over.
And it's crazy because if y'all remember last season, James was saying to Alonzo, "You'll never be inviting me over when you got things going on."
No, don't, man. Even what was it?
This is a lie. James just was at my house last week, at least 3 times in 1 week.
I was there. I seen it.
But that was because you had a bunch of stuff going on. But just in general,
tell them what you told me earlier. Your pre-existing conditions is not an excuse.
They don't.
The reason why is you was still there. Okay,
you arrived. All that matters is the result. You were there.
I was. Then I got pretty inebriated one night too.
Oh yes, very litty.
That's like, if y'all want that story, that's on Patreon. We're gonna start the Patreon just to talk about the stories that we can't share here. Before I get to Zoe, Cleveland, how was your weekend?
My weekend was cool. I was just chilling, man. I didn't do much of anything at all. My wife was chilling with her sister on Saturday. So I had like the space to myself, and I was just chilling, bro.
And you ain't got no friends in Mass?
None, not one, bro. Not one. It's bad. Watch the games by myself. It's not even as fun. It's like the games.
Did you go to dap somebody that wasn't there? Like, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, did you see that? Oh,
man, I sure did. Like,
I could watch a game all by myself and be excited as hell.
Yeah,
I mean, you trained to. Ain't no Bronco fans in New Jersey.
Seriously,
I get excited watching that game, boy. Got excited while watching them whoop on the Giants too.
Here we go. Next.
Yo, you know what I did watch over the weekend though? I watched the Deion Sanders documentary joint about his Jackson State, his first season coaching Jackson State.
Yo, my nigga clip.
That is hilarious.
Yo, it makes you want to go play football, bro.
I told y'all.
It's great.
I'm not even an organized sports guy.
That's for the culture, man.
No, his
bop, what he's doing in the community.
When he caught the 808,
that dip, he had that old school dip.
Yeah, but he had his shoulders up, He had his shoulders up. He had his elbows up
because he was doing the Deion back to the. That's when he started doing the mix of the Ray Lewis in there.
Yeah, man. Yo, that documentary is mad inspired. If you watch it, it make you want to like just order some Jackson State gear, go to their games.
What is that on?
Well, I watched it on YouTube. It's a Barstool Sports.
Oh yeah,
joint.
okay, bet. Because he has a deal with Barstool. Okay, bet.
Yeah.
It is dope what he's doing, right? I mean, every time you hear him talk about the school and what they're doing, like just simple things like putting names on the back of the jersey and his why behind that. And he's like, it only costs like an extra $5. And the fact that schools aren't doing it is crazy. Like, damn, that's
especially now that they can get paid off of their likeness. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you understand that attention is our number one currency. All Dion did, I'm not saying it's all he did, but he showed up, he brought attention, he brought light, and highlighted the guys for their abilities. And now they're the hottest thing, one of the hottest things in college football. And I heard they're good. We don't even care about that,
bro.
We don't even care about them playing football. It's like, that's Deion school. They you got Willie and Gillian Wallow running on the sidelines.
Yo, did you see that video?
Yeah.
Gilly's
mad fast though, yo.
Hold on, that's on the zone nose. That's on the zone nose.
I didn't know if that happened last week or not.
Nah, son. That was hilarious.
Man was running up and down the side. I'm like, that's wild.
Yo, I watched Gilly play ball against. I don't know if y'all are a bit old folks when it comes to music. Y'all know who Russ is?
I know who Russ is.
Music wise?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know.
I have no idea. I've never heard that name music wise.
Cool. No big deal. But Russ is a pretty big deal. And he's a rapper. And Russ they had $1 million worth of game had Russ on maybe a couple months ago. And it was going back and forth talking about how they nice in basketball. And I heard Gilly was all right, but they recorded the whole thing. Gilly's nice, bro.
He can play. Yo, he can shoot.
He can
shoot.
He can shoot. He lefty. Yeah. Lefty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He just look crazy sometimes. It's just the facial expressions.
Yeah,
he can shoot.
That's funny as hell.
CEO, how was your weekend?
It was it was great. It was good. It was good. Partied up with my brethren, Mr. Fauntleroy, and
I was there.
Another 10 8 adult brothers, all in the city of Los Angeles.
Rare occasion.
I figured out why
I couldn't afford that flight.
Right.
I don't think that's the case.
Yes.
I think you're on standby.
You left me in New Jersey.
So right.
No, you left you.
I'm gonna tell you why they call it the City of Angels. It's called the City of Angels because it kills your wallet. That's why. And afterwards, that's all you see is the floating wallets in the air, like that.
No, as you flying home,
yes,
you feel like a ghost.
Yeah, I'm dead now. Or you gonna be when you get home to whoever is running that bread. So, but now it was good. It was party fun. I'm glad certain bros that don't usually come out came out, so that way they could see what we always talking about. Like, yo, when we invite y'all, is
pull up.
Because this is what we talking about. When y'all just see the pictures and like it, and now you're like, oh man, yo, when the next one? Like,
and that's the thing. So I also was there. We were celebrating one of our older bros' birthdays, and he showed up and showed out. He's from LA, so he did the entire thing. And we had some of our older bros who probably crossed five years before us. If y'all don't know, when you are in a fraternity, you have a chapter, which is where you join, and that becomes the people who you are around the most. And each year, or so many years, you have people that join, and then they become your prophytes if they're older than you, or neophytes if they're younger than you. Anyway, we had some of our older brothers come and join the fun. Some of them never been to California before, so it was a good experience. But we just spent time fellowshipping, chilling, drinking, having a good time. And it was only for like a day and a half. It wasn't even a full 48 hours, but it was a quick but like really well-needed trip.
Yeah, shout out to happy birthday, belated birthday to big bro Reggie Jackson.
For sure.
Not the baseball player, not to be confused, but
he's a baller.
Yes, that is true.
We pulled up to his house. He had a Porsche out front, like on the lawn, on the lawn,
on the grass.
Yeah.
I said, God.
Yeah.
I felt poor.
Hopefully, I'm trying to hope to afford a Tesla, and this man got the Porsche parked in his front yard. Like, it's crazy.
Nah, it was wild. Yeah,
I'm just trying to pay next month's mortgage. Y'all talk about Teslas and Porsches.
So I went to Zoe's house. Zoe has 4 cars at his house right now.
Luxury too.
I don't know. Right. So we drive nice cars, but Zoe has 4 at his house that he just purchased with his backyard that he has professionally groomed every 13 hours. I'm trying to tell you,
these are lies. First of all, I just like Reg said, I have the cars and I sleep in them. Okay.
I doubt it, but we do have a bit of a action-packed episode. I feel like it's going to be fun, but let's start with, like I mentioned at the top, The Blueprint. Jay-Z's classic album came out 20 years ago this week. Fab's Ghetto Fabulous came out the same day. And also a very tragic event happened on the exact same day, which was 9/11. And we're not going to get deep into it, but I definitely want to acknowledge that because our episode today is going to be talking about when you were a kid, how did you view adulting? Mm-hmm. It's hard to think back and think about 20 years ago. I was vividly remembering what was happening. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. I remember where I was when The Blueprint dropped. I remember where I was when I heard Fab's first album. So, yeah, taking it back 20 years is kind of a wild and trippy thing. Let's go around without getting too sappy and sad. Like, where were you? Do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened?
Mm-hmm. So I'll start. I was obviously in high school. I was a freshman in high school. And
but let people know geographically how far you were from New York.
Yeah, that's something I'm getting. So I was a freshman in high school. So I'm from Passaic, so I was obviously in Passaic High School. Passaic is probably driving less than, I would say, about 20 minutes driving to New York. From our school, you were able to see like the smoke in the sky, so it's not far at all. But yeah, I was in math class freshman year. Someone, like another teacher, just ran into the class and told the teacher to turn the TV on because we had little TVs hanging up from when I guess we wanted to watch movies. But he turned the TV on, you could see like there was smoke coming out of the first, I guess the North Tower at the time. So we sitting there just watching. I think at that point in time, not many people knew exactly what was going on. Mm-hmm. They just knew like something happened. And literally as we're watching it on the news, you see the second plane hit the second tower. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. When that happened, I think within like 5 minutes, it was like announcements for like people to start going to like the cafeteria to kind of just chill out there because obviously people start panicking. Mm-hmm. I would say within like 30 minutes of that point in time, my mom came to the school and like got me out and went back home. I'm not sure what she thought was going to happen between like the school and where we lived at.
I'm going to get my kid.
Coming. I'm not really sure. But I guess as a parent, when we talk about that, how you view parents and adults when you're younger, as a parent, at least, if you have your child right next to you, you can try to figure something out.
She wasn't trying to wait and see even.
So it was like, yo, yeah, James, please come to the office. I'm like, this is crazy.
Fonto, how about you, Zoe? Where were you? Do you remember what was going on for you?
Yeah, so I had just that year, 2 months prior, we had just moved to Jackson. So we had just got there. Well,
tell people in proximity to what Jackson is, where it's located.
Jackson's where Six Flags Great Adventure is in one of the theme parks, and it is a solid hour from the city. So I was further away. I wasn't as close as James. I couldn't see smoke.
More the midpoint of the state.
Yeah, central Jersey, but closer going towards like the ocean, towards the shore.
Okay.
So if you're in central Jersey and you go left or right, going towards the Atlantic Ocean side. And then I was in health class, I remember. And I just seen everybody crying. Like, I didn't know really what was going on. I tell you what's weird and what's crazy is when I found out about like where it happened or what happened and where it happened, everybody was crying. Oh, my parents work in New York. Everybody saying that their parents work in New York. Somebody's parents work in New York, cousin, something, right? But my dad was actually supposed to be there that day because, as y'all know, what he does for a living,
right?
Sometimes it's trading and this time and third. He
does some world trade.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So he used to work there years ago, but he had to go there. He had a meeting, and for whatever reason, I wasn't shook like everybody else, or crying, or scared, or nervous. I just like.
But when you left the house that morning, he was supposed to have been going there that day.
Yeah, because when I left so early, he was still like, I used to leave, catch the bus at 6 something. He was.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like I saw him leave first. I left first. But to my knowledge, after our conversation the night before, that's where he was going. And then I get home and he's sitting right in the living room. I'm like, what happened? I think he's like, well, let's just say procrastination helped me for the first time in my life. Like, he canceled the meeting. Like, he wasn't ready or whatever for the meeting. So I was like, whew. And I kind of was like, relieved. You know what I mean? Because in my back of my mind, I'm like, But then I don't know. I just didn't have the same feeling everybody else had. But I was nervous because I was like, I live next to a theme park. Is that the next big thing they're gonna hit now? Like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? So it was a lot. It was a lot. So
Cleveland, you and I are in a bit of a different space. We are not close to New York City whatsoever. But talk to me about your experience when it happened.
Sure. I was in high school. I was in a town called Sewell, New Jersey. It's not pronounced how it's spelled. It's spelled like Sewell.
Yeah. It always looked like sewer to me. Sewer. I don't know why I thought always.
But Sewell, New Jersey. I was in high school. I was sitting. So I went to a technical high school. So our first class of the day was like our trade class, so to speak. So I was in computer class, and it was Mr. Preziosi. He was a mean old man, and he talked real hard, Italian dude, and he was teaching us. And somebody came and knocked on his door, whispered in his ear, and he walked over to the TV and he was like, 1 second, guys. Mad dramatic, turned on the TV, and we saw what was going down. I don't remember if I saw the plane going into the second tower. I just remember when one of the towers fell on TV. And I remember thinking to myself that it looked like an implosion. I was like, yo, why it looks like the building just like collapsed on itself.
We can't make this a conspiracy theory.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not making a conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Either way, something happened. Like that we know. So whatever you think caused it or whatever. I just remember looking at it like, yo, Dad looks crazy. And
what 50 Cent say, Zo? I don't know what they said that nigga did, but whatever they say he did, he did.
He did that shit. Yeah, he did that shit.
Yeah, man. But I was in class, and then after that, we didn't really do anything like different in school for the rest of the day. Like literally, we had class, everybody was talking about it. But it wasn't until I got home and started talking to my parents about it that I realized like how serious it was, like what just happened.
Oh, can you also tell people where that is in relation to New York?
Or Sewell.
Yeah, man. So Sewell, New Jersey is in southern New Jersey, probably 2 hours away from New York, solid 2 hours away to get into Manhattan. But I think my parents helped kind of frame how serious of an event, of a tragedy that it was when I got home, and we were watching the news. The news wasn't editing anything. So any video they had of it, it was unedited. They weren't bleeping out curses, none of that. It was just like raw footage, like showing you what was going on at ground zero. The term came to be. But yeah, man, I remember it. Vividly.
For those who don't know, fun fact, if you've ever heard of a player in New Jersey history named DeJuan Wagner, Cleveland's high school is a place where DeJuan Wagner scored 100 points on Cleveland's high school basketball team.
Not so.
100
he scored 100 points against Camden County Vokey.
No,
it was Gloucester County Vokey.
It was Gloucester. No,
we didn't even have a basketball team.
I'm sorry, it was GCIT.
we had a golf team.
It was GCIT. My bad. It was Gloucester County though. It was just GCIT. So it wasn't.
No, that was my school. GCIT.
Nah, he dropped 100 on y'all.
No, we didn't have a basketball team. That was Camden County.
James, he dropped 100 on Cleveland's high school basketball.
Google it.
He still is one of the best high school players ever, though.
Of all time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
James, a hundo.
That's wild.
And then came out the game. It was time left.
Damn.
I'm looking this up right now.
He said, "Nah, I'm gonna just drop these hundo and I'm gonna walk out. I'm hungry." But so back to 9/11. So I'll make mine quick. So I want to get to the topic. So I remember what I was wearing, son. I had black Timbs on. That's when black Timbs were cool. And I had you remember the Rhino, the Mark Echo brand?
Yeah. Echo jeans.
I had the Rhino with silver that had silver jeans and the silver jean jacket. That was a wild time.
You was stunting the silver jean jacket. First of all, those silver jeans was popping back then.
They were yeah.
Them platinum jeans. You had a pair of platinum jeans on.
Walk around with aluminum foil.
It's wild how much people like really match to like. You had to like it was son, it was too much.
And my Mark Echo Rhino had some little reflective hits.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was different. It was
reflective
different.
jeans.
It was different. But I was also in health class, going from class to class. And for me, I was in Pennsville, New Jersey, which is further than Cleveland was from New York. I was 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. Never been to New York at this point in time. Didn't even know what the World Trade Center was, honestly.
That's wild.
I was a sophomore. I remember kids having knowledge of who Osama bin Laden was at that time. And I was like, what? Huh? I didn't know what a terrorist was. I didn't know what none of that. But it didn't make sense. My mom and dad didn't know what the hell was going on. It couldn't make sense of it for me. To my dad's credit. This is funny now, but it wasn't funny then. He was like, they playing the hell out of that. 911, 9/11. That's crazy.
What?
Look, man. I grew up that my dad said Big Zitty my whole life. I thought Zitty was Zitty. So, you know.
Oh my God.
Okay. Smart people.
Yeah. No, it was the 9/11 thing was definitely because I wasn't really sure about like the World Trade Towers, whatever. I didn't really know what they were. I've been to New York, but I've never been to like what is it called? Southern Manhattan, the financial district. I've never been down there. I didn't even know what finance was like that to understand that. So it was just more about like, yo, this is crazy. And I didn't really know the impact of it. But when I watch stuff now, like documentaries of what's going on and have a much better understanding, it's like, I think about now, like myself now, I work in New York and I work in finance, right? That could have been a position where I was at, or that can happen. You know what I mean? It's like, that's crazy. Like people like were jumping out of buildings. Like, yeah, son. You know what I mean? It was like insane. 100, like I think from like 94 and up, like they weren't getting out. Right. Like there was just no way. I'm like, but I don't want to be somber and shit. It was like, but it's crazy though.
But what I'll say is, rest in peace to all those who lost their lives. Condolences once again to the families who have lost somebody in that space, or who are dealing with the conditions based on the first responders who went into these buildings. And just interesting time in U.S. history that we were alive to see as kids, 14, 15 years old. With that said, let's get into adulting. So basically the origin of this conversation is around the fact that we didn't know what the hell we thought adults were when we were kids. And they said adulting was fun. You remember that?
No, I never heard them say it, but I just remember us saying we can't wait to be adults.
I remember thinking,
I feel like adults know adulting is not fun.
Right.
Adulting is not fun
at all.
I never heard adults say it.
It looked like it was lit. They going to the club, they driving their own car, they got their own apartment, all this stuff, they just moving and shaking. If you got older brothers and sisters, none of us do actually.
James,
well, I do.
Huh?
But not an older brother.
James, James and Cleveland both got older sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but not like an older brother, which is like
somebody will be like,
yeah. But yeah, so for all y'all listening, if you have an older brother or somebody that's the same sex as you, and you see your other older sibling living life, you're like, damn, that look kind of lit. And because they're right next to you. Parenting don't look fun when you were a kid, but being an adult does. Let me ask you this one question, yes or no? Did you ever romanticize being an adult when you were a child?
Yes.
No.
Okay. No?
What? No. Nah, you wow.
I did.
But I never in my mind, it was nothing that I wanted to do as that adult can do. It was you
didn't do enough chores. That's why. Like,
no, probably not.
Maybe
you didn't want to have free will. You didn't want to be able to come and go as you please.
I guess because I was kind of doing that a little bit, but respectfully.
But you couldn't bounce for an extended period of time. You had to come home every night.
Yeah, but I wanted to come home every night.
Okay, well that makes sense.
You know
okay, I mean? Did you want to have your own money in your pocket?
Well, yeah, but I wanted a job. I didn't want to be an adult. I didn't have to pay bills, and I worked as a kid.
I mean, yeah, but were you conscious of that at that time, or were you just like? I
just wanted money. I knew that there was not enough to go around in the house to put money, extra money in my pocket. So I knew I had to work to get it.
So you went and got that block corner,
Dirty Myrtle.
Yep, I was on selling that a good old secondhand fried chicken from Popeyes.
Not secondhand. Where you get it from?
My job at Popeyes. I worked at Popeyes. I wasn't literally
you wasn't flipping birds for real, was you?
I was dipping that grease
literally
for real.
flipping birds.
That's the Birdman. What happened to that boy?
I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was gonna hit a little harder.
I caught it.
But I never wanted to be an adult.
Well, stay quiet on this section. For the rest of y'all, what was it about being an adult that you romanticized?
Money. I remember back in the day. All right, so back in the day, you paid cash for everything. Like tapping Mac was like new.
What?
Like when we was young, right?
The Mac machine.
Mac. You remember the Mac machine?
Money Access Center.
But we ain't call it tapping Mac.
Oh nah.
Yeah, that's what my parents when debit cards first got hot.
When you hit the ATM, James, I'm with you. James, I'm with you.
I don't know. I ain't know
that. No, Cleveland. We going to ATM. Your family said tapping Mac.
No, Cleveland. I'm with you. In South Jersey, there was no ATM.
So
there was
the
Mac machine.
Yeah, y'all also had a bank called The Bank. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, we definitely had a bank called The Bank.
But this is before The Bank was a thing. It was a Mac machine. Look it up, y'all.
Yeah.
MAC, Money Access.
I know it's blue. We never said that phrase. We said, I'm either going to Mac machine or I'm going to ATM. One of the two.
Look here.
It was Tap Mac.
We was all born in New Jersey. Me and Cleveland know it's a thing, so it ain't.
No, we were not all born in New Jersey. Thank you very much.
Where was you born at?
Southside Jamaica, Queens.
Oh my God!
General. Do not disrespect. Okay?
Live in America.
That's why y'all Negroes ain't know.
Living in America.
Financial district. Y'all ain't know.
I ain't know about it.
I ain't know nothing.
I did.
But but like my parents, so they paid for everything in cash back in the day, right? Because it wasn't debit cards wasn't that popular. So like when my parents would go like pay for gas. I remember one time we went to get gas. And, back in the day, gas was like $1 a gallon. And my dad used to like break out his wallet and always had cash in it. And he used to be like 10 regular. And he'd break off, peel off, get it to do the $10 bill. And I'm like, I could buy mad candy with the money in that wallet.
I thought he was going to go the grandfather route because grandfathers always had 100s, 20s, and 50s.
Oh, yes.
In a stack. Something
my
stupid.
No, my dad used to have the brown leather wallet.
The Social Security
wallet
bag.
He had the tray used to be like this thick just with cash.
A Medicare bag.
Yeah, I need some of that.
Yo, sidebar. I know you said you brought something up too, thinking about adulting and getting gas and all that. Yo, I remember my dad, and this is when you start learning math, right? When you're a little kid. And I remember my dad like literally getting mad and driving from one gas station across the other one because one was 98 cents versus like $1. I'm like, yo, what's the difference?
And now it add up. It'd be like $7 difference at the end of the day, if that.
It didn't make sense. You figure if you ask for $10 regular, you get $10 worth of gas. Like, why does it matter which gas station you get it from? You don't do that division. Like, all right, well, so $1.05 here.
So for me, I used to romanticize like having my own spot. And the reason why is because my mom used to always joke. She's like, yo, your room is always a mess. Wait till you have your own place. In my mind, I'm like, my place is going to be clean. Like, what are you saying? Like, you clean up after me here. I have to clean up myself.
See, again, I ain't do enough chores.
I didn't. My job was to get good grades, to wash the dishes, and to come home on time. I got good grades.
How you do 1 out of 3?
1 out of 3?
Terrible.
Dang.
Look, I ain't give my parents no headaches. I was a good kid. I just didn't come home on time, and I had to watch. But anyway, so is that the time is that what you romanticize as a kid about being an adult?
Yeah, like second grade. Once I had to start doing chores, like
you're like, fuck this.
Yeah, like this is crazy. Cause you know what it is? Like, all right, without going crazy, how I was told to do the chores was more the issue as opposed to me doing the chores. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. If you know, you know. And y'all know that it wasn't, hey, go do this, or here we ain't have no board on the fridge, or like it was just me. First of all, I was the only child for 10 years. And then even within that time frame, I would say from like second grade, you start taking the little trashes out and doing like sweep.
Not the trashes.
Yeah, the trashes. That's how you
I was gonna let it ride.
Yeah, so I know trash is plural. The fishes. No, I was hanging around somebody from Newark all weekend that was talking crazy.
So for a little insight, Zoe was talking about something earlier, and I was like, how would 21-year-old Zoe respond to that thing that you just said? It was like, damn, you're right. So sometimes you got to give Zoe hell in advance or from his past because he's not gonna let you ride. And if he do, he gonna let you know. I let that ride.
Yeah, that's
Right.
I let that go out of bounds. No, you didn't. You just told on yourself.
Anyway, yes, the trashes. I would take the little cans here or bring up the. See, I had weird jobs. That was like stuff that just bring up all the shoes. So I was the first person that like, yeah, you don't even understand. Like when we got a place where there was steps involved, right? It was like my mom would walk to the bottom of the steps, right? She'll walk to the bottom of the steps, kick her shoes off, and walk upstairs and say, "Yo, bring up my shoes." And I'm
like, "Yo, my man, what are you doing?
Like,
what's
you
up?"
Just had them on your feet, like you could have kicked and leaned and
nah, son. You know what? So I gotta add one on top of that. When they used to say,
"Get some water."
Not even. Can you get the remote? The remote is right there.
Turn the light off.
That's the stuff that why I wanted to adult because I didn't want to deal with that. Yeah, mom, close the light. Close the light. I'm like, close it.
Tap my Mac. Tap my Mac.
Close the light.
Close the light. Bring up my shoes. Walk through the kitchen and say, "Bring me some water." Like, you was just in the spot where it's at. So it was those type of things.
So here's another question. What did you think when you were a kid? What did you think was grown? Like what age? What were you looking at? Was like, oh, they grown. Did you have a person in mind of like, nah, they grown. I'll be grown when I'm that age.
16, I think 16.
Right. So when you were like 10, you probably thought a 16-year-old was like
my
grown,
cousin,
right?
my cousin Butchie. Shout out to my cousin Butchie. I thought
he
that's the one y'all know with like the long dreads and stuff now. Mm-hmm. But he was, I think, about 16. So I wasn't even 10. I probably was like 8 or something like that. And I just remember him getting ready. Like I remember he's gonna trip when he hear this too, because he listens to the pod. But like I remember, like I wasn't putting on deodorant, and I'm watching like 1, 2, 3. I'm counting yo, so that's how many I gotta do. Like I'm watching this nigga get ready. Like I don't know where he going, but he going somewhere. He get dressed fly, had a swishy jump off starter jacket. He was blazing out. And I just remember, he didn't put deodorant on. Like, that's crazy.
Deodorant was a big thing because if you try to do it too early, like, no, your body's going to burn.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my parents did that to me on purpose because I was playing baseball. Like, They hit me with the, you need to put, and my dad put right guard.
Like outside?
Yeah, right dang, he went straight for the strong stuff.
Right guard to this day, I can't wear it, so I can't, that shit burns, though.
That shit like Grey Goose.
Yeah.
How about you, Cleveland? When you were a kid, what did you think was grown?
Probably around the same thing, like 16, 17, like 4 or 5 years. When I was 12, anybody who was like 4 or 5 years older than me, I thought they were grown. So I had my older cousins that lived near me in Jersey, and they're twins. I used to think they were the coolest dudes on the planet. Avery and Aaron. Maybe they'll listen to the pod now since I shot them out. But Avery and Aaron, man, I thought they were the coolest dudes on the planet. They shared a car. They had a
Chevy Lumina.
No, it was like a Camaro. It was like a IROC joint.
It was the older one though. The IROC Z.
The IROC Z.
Yeah,
that joint. Yo, they used to be speeding through the P section in Siglerville.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yo, I thought they was the
houses.
Coolest. Yo, it's mad houses in the P section. First of all, it's a black community of homeowners in Siglerville. But yeah, man, they used to be speeding through there. I thought they was the coolest dudes ever, man. So, and they were only like, they were still in high school. I mean, they were 16, 17 years old, but I thought they were the coolest dudes around. So James, that's what I thought was grown.
James, are you ready to join us yet? Or
what do you mean?
Are you still on the side? Are you going to join in the conversation and be a regular human? Or you're not ready yet?
I'm not actually. Okay, so this is my issue. Right. So one, there was nobody in Passaic that was older that I thought that was something that I wanted to be a part of. That's one, right? Because people who were older than I was, just what they did was not something that I was interested in at all, right? So there wasn't anything that I thought that, I want to be an adult to do that. No. And I don't really have many older cousins that had that similar situation. A lot of times it was just me being around people my age, but at the same time, as I got a little bit older, I was also like going to parties like in Passaic at that time. We went to clubs at 14, and not because it was like, 30-year-olds in the club. It was teen night at that time.
Right.
So they weren't serving alcohol or anything, but it was a bunch of 14 to 17, 18-year-olds at a party inside of a club where they would have adults.
So nothing that you saw when you were a kid at any day, any point in time, you were like, oh, that's cool. I can't wait to do that.
Nah,
not
even drive.
My parents ain't have a car at all in my life. I
didn't make you want a car.
That's what I was saying. Shouldn't that make you want one?
No, that's the thing. No one I knew
had a car. That's my car.
Yeah, no. You would do that, but not as like. But that never made me want to become an adult, so I can get that car. That never crossed my mind. It was just a game. Well, that's my car.
Well, you knew you couldn't get one as a kid, so that's like.
Yes, I mean, as a kid, we didn't grow up with much, so I was like, it is what it is with that. And as you grow up, we were, I was able to kind of come and go, respectfully, as I always say. I'm not out all night, and I also wasn't doing anything crazy. I think that was one of the reasons why my parents allowed me to kind of stay out and do things like that, because I really wasn't doing anything. Most of the time I'll just be outside the front of my house, but we'll be out there for a while and we just be hanging. So it's never really like I'm being restricted from doing what I want to do. So I'm never like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out this house so I can go and do whatever I want to do.
Can identify. For me, when I was like, it was in sections, right? When I was probably like 12, I probably used to think like high school seniors were grown because how they was moving and shaking around. When I was probably in high school, I thought like early 20s was like grown. They just didn't have any restrictions. They could kind of do whatever they wanted. And then I think that was kind of it, because once I got to college and you look at 30-year-olds, I never looked at 30-year-olds like, oh, that was just like, oh, that's a different level. But it definitely was like looking like one step above and being like, oh, that must be grown. That, they're doing things that I would like to do. But James, let's start with you with this question. When did you realize you were a real adult?
I had to start paying all my bills on my own.
Like, what age was that?
I was when I started paying like every bill, I had just turned 21. That's my mom had passed away. Again, not trying to get somber or anything, because I was still paying stuff. I had a job, but I would still get help. And then when that happened, I was like, I gotta figure this out on my own.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. Pay your rent, cell phone, car insurance, and anything I wanted at that point in time. So everything was all on me.
So even though you thought that you were adult at that time, looking back, were you an adult at that moment?
Yeah.
Fiscally. Right.
I mean, yeah.
What the thing is like, the only thing I would say is that at 21, I thought someone who was 30 was old as hell.
Now look at you. That's nigga wow.
So that was like at 21, I still thought I was really young. Like I thought that I was gonna be young forever. So that was like
apparently James has been scared of being an adult for his whole life. He didn't want to be nobody. He didn't want to drive. Yeah.
Possibly.
And then he turned 21. It was like, nah, fuck them 30-year-olds. Yeah. I ain't never gonna be you.
Possibly. But nah, I had to because that's part of it. I guess what an adult is when you realize all your responsibilities are solely on you.
Okay.
You kind of realize real quickly that there's no one else that you can lean on. There's no parent, no other person. You got to figure it out. That's kind of starting when you become an adult.
How about you, Zoe? When did you think that you were an adult for the first time?
I would say probably around the same time, between 19 and 20 something. I didn't go back home. And then I was paying my own stuff. Like I would say when I graduated college, I refused to go back home. So I did what I had to for the first first 2 months of summer, I like couch hop. But I also didn't couch hop and just free it. Like, I always make a contribution, buy some groceries or something. But then I would say when I got my first apartment and I was working like the pharmaceutical stuff, then I was like, oh yeah, it just got real. Like I had a full-time job. I was working, and then somebody created debt and owed me like $6,000, but that's
I was waiting for that.
It's been a long time since I brought it up.
No, about like 2 episodes.
But it was in the context of the story. I was
about to say it was just like earlier this episode.
When you take care of a whole nother when you take care of a whole nother human, then you're like, damn, I'm really an adult. That's how.
So flipping it around, because I think Cleveland probably will say the same thing. When you were coming up, do you think that grown meant like an age or attitude?
Nah, it's still an age, man. I mean, all right, within perspective, an attitude. Oh, you can't be 16 with a grown person attitude. I don't care what.
Yes, you can.
No,
I was in college,
bro. No, and I was just about to say you can't. And this is the thing. Even in college, we're still shielded to a point. We might think we're adults because we can kind of come and go as we please, but we still have some type of stability that's.
Oh, this is not reality. This is not reality. Right? This is like, but that's what I'm saying. When like, you think
that they're adults at that point in time, and even at like as when you're younger, I understand that there's some 16-year-olds, right, that are taking care of basically raising their younger siblings, right? They have a job and they have a younger sibling that, they probably got to take care of because of whatever their situation is. And you would think that, okay, that they're an adult essentially because they know what it is, but you still got some type of protection. You still got something to fall back on. Everything doesn't fall on you.
It's not always true. It's not always true. Everybody don't have something to fall back on.
And no, but the thing is like that place that you're living in, you're not paying for that by yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's not just on you.
No, okay, I get it.
The rent, you're not like it's not like you're getting kicked out.
But hold on, Cleveland, I want you to answer this. Because y'all both said like 21, 20, right? So Cleveland, do you think that when you were younger, you look at grown as an attitude or an age?
I looked at it as an age. I thought that once you got past 19 years old, like when you got into your 20s, you were grown. Like that's what I thought grown was when I was younger. I never thought anybody with a teenage number was like grown. I thought they were cool. Yeah. I thought they were cool and I thought they were like older, but I didn't think that they were like grown, so to speak. Because to me, grown, I think I also associated with an attitude too, because I thought like you had a certain attitude. Like once you got past a certain age, that's when the grown attitude kicked in.
Right. When you cuss in public.
Like, and what I was going to say is, you don't always know how old somebody is. You probably been around them, and they probably like for me, if you were a certain height and you had a deep voice, you drove, you could have been 16 doing all those things. But if I was 10, I look at you as grown because you might be acting grown or playing grown or you moving around like you older than you are. I don't know how old they actually are, but to me, acting. How many times we heard acting grown? Stop acting grown.
Yeah.
Right. It's usually directed towards young women versus us, but like, oh, now she acting grown. So
yeah, usually,
you know what I mean? Even when dudes is having sex.
Yeah, if you're looking at it from like the point of view of like what you just your perception of what someone looks like, then I understand that point of view. I was just looking at it as like a reality thing. Like the reality of it is that your age.
Oh nah,
you're not making.
It's mean like because you don't have like you're not rooted in reality when you're 10.
So I get that point. Then I get that take in a sense of like if I'm like 10 and I see someone what you describe, then you might think that person is actually an adult, right?
Right.
Like, so I get that point of view.
I would say this: what for me, I never thought it was an age. I thought it was an attitude because when you get told when you grown, you do this, you do that. When you grown, don't be in my house doing this. When you get your own,
right.
So when that's like on record, on repeat, right? You kind of think, okay, well, when I get this, that's what motivates, like that kind of, maybe James, like I say, he didn't have that. So like I did, where it was like, okay, watch. Like, I had my little checklist. Oh, in order to do this, I got to be grown. In order to do that,
right?
Okay. So when I get there and I got all of the above on the checklist, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm here now.
So we're gonna take a shift now because all the things we talked about in this section was about when you were a kid looking up. Now we're going to compare what you looked up to what you may have become or thought about. So the first one I want to talk about is like right now, what are the 3 components that make you an adult? Like just no commentary, just 3 things.
Bills.
What are the
bills?
Bet.
Right.
Telephone bills.
All right.
That's what make me a goddamn adult.
Great question. I mean, great answer, James. Great answer. Great answer.
Good answer, man.
Oh shit, that was
Cleveland,
adult, man. And then
what about you?
I want to start with 30 is not old.
Now it's not old.
Now it's not.
Oh man,
now it's not old.
Three things. What three things make you an adult?
What you mean now? Right?
Being responsible for other. I want to say being responsible for other people. I'm not going to just say having a child because there's kids who have children.
Kids having kids. Yeah.
So being responsible for another adult.
But that's one.
Another thing that makes me an adult. I would say bills. Yeah, bills. I mean,
not what makes
bills.
you. Well, not what makes you an adult. What makes someone an adult? Like not a personal. Like what makes someone an adult? James, your answer still is very true. It's very, very true.
Yeah, that's number one.
Oh man, so yeah, I still paying bills is still one, but I would say taking care of someone else, maybe behavior, like how mature you are in certain situations, makes you an adult.
Some would say maturity is more than reaching a certain age.
I believe that.
I mean, the ability to sacrifice and set goals.
I've heard that before.
So that's your three. Bills.
Three.
Taking care of someone.
No one catch on to that but Varmy.
Nah. We just ain't want to get out.
Okay, I thought y'all said keep it going.
I heard that before.
We wasn't trying to make it hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I thought it was like
If you know, you know. I need that as a sound clip.
Oh shit, yes. that was good.
So all right, so those are three for Cleveland. So how about you? What three things make someone an adult?
For me, I will say, well, I will give you one. One for me, which can be, like Cleveland said, being a responsible individual to take care of another human, like another human life, right? That's like a huge thing. Not just keeping them alive with bread and water, because some people do that, and then they be like doing the things that make sense, right?
That's how I keep myself alive.
Yeah.
Too much bread.
Yeah, play your money too for that comment.
Not bread. I meant carbs.
My bad. It fit though. It fit right on time. I would say like money management. It's like
I'm not an adult.
I want to say, there's a lot of 50-year-olds that's not adults.
Yeah, this is true. I know a few. Whoa. But I think on paper it's supposed to be like if there was like a job application for being an adult and it say requirements are like that would be one of them. Like being able
keeping it a buck. When I pay rent, I'd be like,
"We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States."
Every time that rent come out of my check, out of my account, it's like, yes, we made it.
But I would say take care of somebody, being fiscally responsible, if you want to say that. Maybe not. Budgeting is a hard thing, and sometimes you have to reset your life depending on where you at, new job, lost a job. So that always changes. But just being fiscally responsible, like not blowing money for no reason that you know you don't have. Like
the great part about being the host is that I don't have to answer this question. I can just shift to the next one because I don't have an answer for this. But with this next question I wanted to ask is, has society played a part into how you look at what being an adult is 100%. And why?
I'll start off. I would say 100% because they make rules and laws and things that are supposed to be for adults, like drinking. Right. If you smoke, buying cigarettes,
driving,
getting a driver's license. So they contribute to what we as kids aspire to be adult or adulting, because these are certain things that we can't have right now, which for valid reasons, like ain't no like 9-year-olds should be driving, but you know what I mean? Right. But it just, that's society's rules and the norms, or in this country, like, you know, you can't say the world, but
just America.
Yeah. For America. Yes. I think it does play a huge part in that, because as soon as you turn 18, you start getting credit card offers, you start getting wild stuff that you maybe not ready for, but in society's world, you 18, you can go fight in a war. You can do mad stuff.
You can vote. Yeah.
So they make it like that.
How about the rest of y'all? Has society made the perception that something means you're an adult, whereas something does not?
I guess unconsciously it does. You try to, at least I guess I feel like I try not to allow society to dictate my judgment on how I view things in life. But I think you have an unconscious
it's tough,
right? Mindset to say, okay, well, I'm just going to eliminate all of that because you see it's all around you in terms of what you're supposed to do as an adult. Because nothing really, that you're supposed to do as an adult ever happens perfectly, right? No one's perfect. So if you conform to society and what they think an adult is supposed to be, you have to be this perfect individual and never fail. And that's just
right.
reasonable. So again, I try not to look at it that way, but in some form, then, you know, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's almost inevitable because part of what Zoe was saying that there are laws that govern the way that our society actually operates. But if I look back at looking at like Family Matters or some shit, Eddie Winslow looked grown as fuck for whatever reason. He just
like
looked
32 playing that role, but no.
yeah. Right. He was like twice Steve's size, but it was in the same high school. Like, Waldo was half his size.
Like, he had a mustache.
Yeah, it's like, who is this guy? And even if you're looking at society, we watched Martin. Martin was supposed to be like 23, 24. Mm-hmm. Like the life they were living, right? The life that they were living was not the life that we were living at 23 and 24
at all.
Like living in a high-rise apartment with like furniture that you picked out. Not furniture, furniture that you picked out.
That you bought on purpose.
Right. Furniture that you purchased without a payment plan. It's like you bought it.
The renter center.
Right. Like, yeah, that's how you know you're not in it. That's how I know. Auto pay and when you're not using renter center.
Auto pay is a different. See, that's your two. That's your 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's that like goes back to society, right? Because why can't someone, not everyone can just afford a $1,500 couch.
See, I'm right,
but here's the issue.
That goes back to society.
Here's the issue with a credit card. You might be looking at 2 to 3% on said $1,500 couch, but rent center hit you for like 20%. That markup is
that's
mean.
The unfortunate part of having terrible credit.
That's adulting.
But then it goes back into, if we look at society, then that's a terrible adult.
Well, let's go in this lane
before you go in there.
Okay,
Jaleel White and Darius, what's his name? Darius
McCray.
They're 1 year apart, 44 and 45. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I just Googled it while you was talking. I was like, wait, let me see.
Darius McCray played Eddie Winslow and Jaleel White plays Steve Urkel.
And they look like,
like
1 year, bro.
Oh, you brought your little brother to the party and shit? Getting into the lane of what we actually think adulting was. What is the shit that they didn't tell us about what adulting was? Because we always hear the stories about like what I wish I knew, and credit is always one of them, right? But did you ever understand how important credit was? You know, you needed decent credit, but did you even know how important it was to like your life?
My mom kept just saying, "Don't mess up your credit."
My mom's the same.
Yeah, like, well, what does that mean?
No blueprint. It's just like, don't fucking
tell me where you messed up.
As a kid, I didn't know what credit was really throughout.
Nah. So imagine, say you are walking into adulthood. Mm-hmm. That James, that was 21, that you said that, post your mom's passing, you are grown. You actually working in like the finance area. Did you know how important, like how majorly important credit was?
At that point in time, yes.
To your whole life?
Yes, at that point in time, I did. That part I knew, but I'm talking about up until like my freshman year in college.
That's even early for people from like in our communities. Freshman year is early.
Like I didn't know that. Like it was like pushing into my sophomore years when I started working at one of the banks here. But when I started working at one of the banks, that's when I started to understand how credit really works, the importance of it, right? And so that's really what was driving my curiosity and how I learned. But up until that point in time, I really didn't have an idea. Which is
so curiosity is what got him to learn, he said, because nobody else really taught it to him.
Right. It's not. That's what I'm saying. So this is the shit they didn't tell us section. So that is important. I'll rattle off a few of them. We can kind of take a deep dive in ones that y'all choose. 401ks, networking, finance in the stock market, how to interact with the opposite sex. Like these are things that they should be at the forefront of our learning, because we need these things in order to operate in society versus algebra. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't need that shit.
So of those things, which ones you want to take a deeper dive into?
Let's go with how to interact with the opposite sex. Let's go with that one. No, here's why. I think
natural at that. I'm just
yo, not so much in the context of like here's how you bag somebody or whatever. In the context of like,
hear this, man?
In the context of like how how do you put it in the proper
in the hole
bucket? I was trying to
hole.
I was trying to frame it in a way where Zoe couldn't, come in.
Well, you was unsuccessful.
Right. There was no way. But like literally, like how to interact, how to keep it in its place, how to put first things first. Forget it. I'm gonna just you guys are so immature.
So much for adulting.
Keep it in there.
This is the one part of adulting. Don't
slip out.
We can laugh at whatever.
Yo, because honestly, like if you don't get that, you learn it on your own, or you learn it from those older cousins that we thought was so cool.
Yo, son,
they start teaching us, right?
I told y'all I don't know what episode it was, but my cousin used to get wild top at like 14, and I was
wow,
wild.
That's like, wild.
Like my top. They was getting it crazy at like 14.
That's wild.
It was. I was like, yo, it was like I was so young that I was inquisitive, but like you would never know until it happens. Like any type of sexual activity, and my cousins were active. That they was in shape.
I was in shape. I witnessed a couple of things I probably shouldn't have that people didn't know I either was in the room or was awake. I mean, like I said, that same cousin I seen.
Hold on, no. Take it back. What you say? Who was awake? Who was asleep?
I was asleep. But they thought I was asleep. But I'm a like, so if somebody move, I'm like, what's that? Like, but as a kid, you just be quiet and look like, the hell is that? And I definitely see my cousin throwing some gold gum wrappers in the in the bag and leaving them. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be the first time he found out that I seen his ass doing it when I was probably like 7 or 8. But damn. No, I was 7 or 8, not him.
I know I'm saying what is that shit?
I mean, niggas thought you was asleep. Like, what you mean?
Was ill. We thought these was the good cousins. These niggas are horrible.
I know. Well, they're the ones good cousins, but
nah, they're right. They put you up on game.
Yeah, I will say that. They say that.
When your cousins bring you around, like, yeah, this is my little cousin. You got like a little baddie. She probably was like 16, but you was like 9. You was like, she's so pretty.
You just smile.
It's super interesting how when you're a kid, how you look at the things that you're supposed to do with the opposite sex, because society teaches you to be a certain way, right? So I would have much rather learned what consent was early on, so you could talk more about it, because being around dudes.
Disclaimer: this is not him saying
no, I'm not
anything happened. We just saying that. Disclaimer.
This is for advocacy. This is for because being a part of a certain friend group, you kind of hear like flagrant shit, and to me, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how to say, yo, that's wild. At this age, nobody could be around saying crazy stuff about how to interact with women that I'm cool with. I either won't be your friend or I got to call you out. But as a 16-year-old, it felt weird that I knew that this wasn't cool, but I didn't know what to say to it or speak to it. And you just know, like, it's a little crazy. I know that you're trying to impress them, and that's kind of whack.
But back in the day, if you questioned it, your sexuality now becomes into question too. You know that was like a thing back in the day.
Yes, but like for me, I didn't. I mean, this is all of our stories. I didn't drink or smoke till 21,
and not all of us.
Well, I never smoked.
I don't smoke.
Well, yeah, I don't smoke. I
drank,
but what I'm trying to say is the perception back then is that like if you told your boys that you didn't drink or smoke, you're soft, which wasn't always the case, because I got away with not being able to drink and smoke when everybody fucked with me. But there's a way that you could have said like that's whack, because if you got cool privilege, you can kind of dictate how your crew moves. So if a dude trying to impress their guys and they're saying like, yeah, man, I told that bitch the yada, yada, yada. Like, yo, that's whack. You know what I mean? And the dudes would have been like, damn, is that whack? Like, so I wish that I had more language to be more of an advocate back in the day versus just hearing it and not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah. And I think like it's in terms of advocacy and just understanding consent,
right.
Because especially in that age when you don't really learn it, obviously this is not saying something I've done or people I know done or anything like that. It's just that you think what consent is now, people who are younger or from I guess back in the day, if you will, some of the things that you would hear people talk about, you would think that it was okay.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because when you have like guys in high school, middle school, they'll run and go smack a girl butt, and they're running and it's funny and everyone laughs. Right, that's obviously not okay, right?
And so it could be traumatizing, right? It could be traumatizing looking back. It's like, damn, that's crazy.
Saying. Like stuff like that. I don't, it's like, and that's something I don't want to say it's small, right?
It's common though.
But it's like you would think like that's not a big deal. Like what's
right.
You know what I mean? But in reality, that's things that we have to talk about, and adults need to teach that to children, like especially. Now,
well, I got daughters.
Even a daughter. I mean, even a daughter. Like you never know. You just want to make sure you have that conversation so that
Zoe's anecdote is to make sure your daughter got hands.
Mm-hmm.
Pow! Like in the movie The Wood.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like that. Boop, boop. Touch
so that's kind of I think what's important about consent and adults teaching children, something that you need to learn as you become an adult, because once you are active and sexually active in that nature, things, your hormones become heightened, and don't know those lines or don't understand them, you'll cross those real quick and not realize it, and that's not okay.
Is it me, or is that, well, I mean, I don't have kids that would be in this age, but I feel like when we were kids, the wear a condom push was like real, like it was a real
early 90s.
Right.
Yeah. AIDS was just popping.
Right. We were like right on the, but I feel like the ads that I see now are catered towards like adults, but not like teenagers. I feel like we had like commercials towards teenagers and trying to convince us to.
I think teenage pregnancy at that time was at an all-time high, and teenage pregnancy now is at an all-time low.
Oh, I remember. Thanks to us.
I remember them after school commercials.
So anything else that we should have known as an adult that we should be making sure that folks know about now? Like I mentioned before, it's like finance, stock market, 401ks, networking.
So as an adult, obviously a lot of people have children. And I think just understanding how to set your child up for success as they get older in terms of financial. So you can set up certain things. One, life insurance. I think that's something so simple that most people just forget about. And you can pass that. That's money you can pass to your children tax-free. So I think just simple things that I know we talk about investments overall. As much as I was talking to my wife, like, man, listen, if our daughter don't get a full scholarship, she paying her own way to school. At the same time, it's like I need to make sure I set up a 529 plan so that I can save money for when she go to college and she doesn't have to pay for it, because it's the worst thing in the world to graduate and have $40,000 to $80,000 in debt. Some people even more.
Then your kids have to do the same thing.
The cycle doesn't end, so you got to make sure you do that to end the cycle.
Nah, you definitely have to. So I do want to make sure that we get to this part too, in terms of what were some relationship myths or myths of the opposite sex you grew up with thinking that had to be broken when you were coming up?
Girls had the cooties.
I think you just heard it wrong. The word was something else.
What is?
That's what I think you heard.
All right. So it was more like relationship myths. Like for me, right? I came from a 2-parent household, but that was rare. So it was almost normal to watch people make a child but not be together. That was super common. Also, this didn't happen in my household, but there were women that my moms were friends with that got beat on by men all the time. Not to say that I always knew that was wrong, but it was super normalized around like where I was from. So having to understand that that's not normal wasn't a real process for me, but as aware as I was coming from the environment that I came from, of a nurturing household, I was used to seeing that.
I think my experience in like that was kind of a myth. I always thought my parents were just like, they just got along. Like honestly, I thought it was just like, oh, when you get married, you just get along. Like that's just what it is. And then you have to grow and you understand relationships a little bit more. You understand like that was actually work and maturity. It wasn't just like magic. Like I got married and I just get along. So I think that was my thing. Like I had to learn through relationships that like, yeah, this stuff is work. It's not
I got a good follow-up question to that, but I'm not yet. But I honestly still think that when I get married, I want to like Tiffany 80% of the time and her get on my nerves 20%. Might be unrealistic, but that's what I want.
I don't think that's necessarily
gonna be reality. You're gonna like her 60% of the time. You're gonna get on your nerves 40% of the time.
You hear that, babe?
But that
your shit together.
The thing is that 60% of the time, it's worth it.
Yeah. So you was gonna say something?
I was gonna say it's more like 60, 30, 10 is like just space. Like where you're not like getting
a good point though.
Yeah, you're not getting along, you're not disagreeing though, but y'all just living like just
like
going through motions.
It's just like things unsaid.
10% roommate.
Yeah.
10% roommate. I get that.
I would say that. Yeah.
I definitely get that. So the follow-up question that I had, because I know we've been potting for some time now, is has anybody here had to proactively forgive an adult for things that you didn't understand when you were a child?
I want to say forgive, but more like
stick with forgive. Hold on. Let's see if anybody can forgive, because
I'm not really good at that. I said that in like the second episode we ever did. Like,
I know. But okay, so I'll give you some context. I'll give some context. There are things that you experience as when you're a child that you don't understand. And then you become an adult and then you understand that, let's say it's your parents. Your parents are humans before they're adults. And you may not even have communicated these things to your parents. Maybe your parents have passed on, but you remember it feeling away, and maybe you reconcile with yourself like, damn, this is why they did that. And I was hurt then, but I'm not hurt now that I have gone through it and I understand what it took for them to even make that decision that hurt me. You know what I mean? Have you ever had to retroactively forgive an adult for something that happened to you when you were a kid?
So on that topic, I didn't obviously my parents passed on, so I haven't had that conversation or anything like that. But just thinking about it now is I can only imagine the sacrifices that they had to make to give me the things that I wanted. Right. Mm-hmm. So when I say I didn't grow much, I didn't, right? But it got better, a lot better as I got older. And literally, especially like 8th grade going up until like my junior year before I started working in high school, like I would get sneakers every year. Christmas would be great. New Timbs, new sneakers, clothes, PlayStation, games for it.
Which is a far cry from what
right?
you started with.
They bought me my first car. I don't know how that happened. So I can only imagine the amount of stuff that they did not do for themselves to ensure I can have the things that I wanted, not even the things I needed, because I had the things I needed, but the things that I wanted. So it's just more of like an appreciation, because I didn't appreciate that. Right. I just feel like I was entitled to it because I was a kid and you need to get me these things, you know.
It's a good thing about knowing y'all, because I know that Zoe has a story aligned to what James was saying, not about direct appreciation, but Zoe used to say that he used to ask for the Jordans, he would get the second best player, or you would ask for a PlayStation and they gave you like a boombox. It's like, yo, my man.
Yeah, that, or I would have to wait the following year. Like my dad's like, well, it's going to be half price next year. So
facts. Smart man.
Like you be all right.
Like, no,
I'll buy you another game of the Sega until you get the PlayStation. Like I'm like, all right, whatever. So I mean, with that type of stuff, I mean, if you ask my dad, I still never forgave them for making me eat like plain Cheerios and stuff.
You haven't.
Oh man, you had Cheerio breath on the school.
You haven't.
That's why
Zoe got on the school bus. Everybody knew what cereal he had. Somebody smelled Cheerio.
Yeah,
I smell Cheerios, yo.
Yeah, Cheerios. It just smell like a box.
It do.
That's all it smells like. It smell like a wet cardboard box.
Yes. So, James, y'all know that bothered me a bit. But I would say I forgave not necessarily what they did, but how, like the delivery of certain things, right? So then, and to the point that I started, like even after my freshman year, my mom was like, "Don't go to that party. Don't go to that party." We know what happened at the party, a rioter.
Boom. Somebody got shot.
Yeah, and then I took heed to it to when after we crossed, remember, and my mom was like, we were getting dressed there. Do you remember we was about to go to Dell State? And she was like, no, you're not. Like, don't go down there. I don't got a good feeling. I'm like, yo, she always trying to kill the vibe. And then Var's like, nah, did you tell me? I was like, yo, you know what? Good point. Next morning, Var run downstairs like, yo, son, there was some huge brawl between Kappas and this person. And I'm like, yo, we would have been in there just for the sake of us being Kappas. Like, we would have been in the mix of some brawl.
Definitely had some some Cheerios breath down at Dell State, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yes. Anyway. So I was like, the tough love and the teaching that my parents gave me, like how to learn certain things in school. And my mom was like driving in the car, like everybody listening to, we didn't have iPads or nothing. Y'all know that none of us had iPads then. They didn't exist. But if you had a couple dollars, you had a Game Boy, maybe, right? I didn't. We didn't have a Game Boy, but my mom was like, nah, we're going to do these brain questions. And I'm like, what? Like, we got a whole ride to Michigan doing freaking brain questions. But then I thought about it, like, yo, that's what cultivated me to be sharp at my thinking, my pattern, and school. And now I look at other people, like, she'll say stuff like, you want to be a dummy, do you? Like, kind of like the Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
But then when you see other people that's kind of not that sharp, you're like, ooh. Like, I don't know if maybe it's genetic, but like I definitely was trained my brain to not be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, it was through music and adulting, I learned in certain periods of my mom's life, she was in pain. And through that pain, certain actions came about that were detrimental to my sister, but more like disappointing to me. And as I've gotten older, I realized that certain things that you go through as an adult, you can't really comprehend until you get there. And not everybody has the resolve to deal with things responsibly or in a mature way based on what your background is or what you have experienced. So I had to like forgive certain aspects of my childhood I was actually like a young adult. I had to like, because I ain't been through shit at that point. I ain't been through nothing. Then you go through shit, you're like, oh, here's a crossroads where you could turn left or right. And right is always hard to do, super hard to do. It's very easy to turn left and to help you cope for a quick fix. That's something that I had to like reconcile with because it's really easy to judge when it's on the outside, but when you're close to it, it's super, or when you've been in a situation where you have to make a choice, it's really easy to be like, oh shit, this is the crossroads that so-and-so faced. And it just went the opposite direction that I went. But those learnings helped me to not make those decisions. It's definitely something I had to like become an adult and be like, damn, I didn't know what they were going through. Specifically my mom. I didn't know she was going through. And that's kind of made me feel like, damn, life is kind of wild like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think I appreciate you sharing that, Bar, because I think that's like one of the things that as I grew up, like you understand more about everything. It just isn't black or white. It's not a lot of things just aren't just strictly right. It's strictly wrong. Yo, he can't.
Oh yeah.
I am African American. I am a person of color. I am a minority.
I didn't say you weren't.
You a BIPOC.
That's my daily affirmation. My daily affirmation.
That's your affirmation.
I am black.
Yeah.
I am somebody.
Look at point at himself. You are black, James. You are black.
No matter what they say, I'm an African American.
Word up.
I am somebody.
Yeah, but no, man. I think that's what you learn. Like as you grow up, you learn that everything is not just like as straightforward as you thought it was. And I think a thing that I realize now, and kind of piggybacking off of what James said, I'm very appreciative of my parents. I appreciate all that they did, because one of the things I saw my parents do is like really come up. Like thinking back now, I'm like, yeah, we didn't really have a lot of money at first, but I saw my parents work. I saw my parents grind. They purchased the home, and then every year we would go on family vacations. Like we would drive down south every single year.
That's wealth.
Good
That's
life
wealth,
right
low
there.
key.
That's the good life, yeah.
No, I'm telling you, we had a
Cleveland said his dad
GMC
wallet was
Safari.
like
He
I
did
remember
say
that wallet, bro. I never
did
forget
say
that. I remember it clear as day. We went to the gas station. He pulled out his wallet. It was a stack of money in there. He peeled off a
Look,
10.
The only
Mom,
family
pay
trips
for the gas.
the only family trips we had was my dad's mood swings.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nah,
we did the road trips.
every
We did
year.
Detroit.
Every year we
I
had
was
the road
Detroit.
trip.
And we went
And
to
then-
Philly. We went to Philly.
Yo, but here's why I
We took-
realized
we took
here's
a
why I
different-
appreciate it so much. Oh, we gonna get some Cinnabon. That's what we
Yeah,
That's
for the
my
Chick-fil-A
shit.
bomb.
and
Yo, I had
Deptford.
Cinnabon.
income tax season, we was rich.
What, bro?
What?
For like 6
I
days.
didn't understand the
It was
concept.
up.
He said rich for 6 days.
It was up. You know what? You know what? Now I'm going on a tangent. You know what I know wasn't adulting? Cashier check at the grocery store.
Oh, well, I think that just depends on the situation and neighborhood.
What?
Bro,
Yo,
you never do that.
Cleveland.
Now. No, you're not. Like, no grocery store owners bringing in a check made payable to somebody else to put
Nah.
Yo, son, it was your check. Y'all had Acme, right, Cleveland?
Yeah, we had
There was Acme's around.
You can cash a check at the
and
Acme.
ShopRite.
Oh,
Yeah,
at your
ShopRite, same
job.
No,
No.
I wasn't working at the grocery.
No.
I got paid by the YMCA. I would take my check to the Acme, and I can cash my check there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's
and
what I
you
mean, like,
you get charged like a fee. Payroll checks. You could cash
Yep.
payroll checks at the grocery store.
yeah,
I thought that was
can't do
normal.
that. You can't do that now.
Yeah, I thought that was normal.
Yeah,
You gotta
I remember
certain
that.
regulations. You got to be a check cashing place, and there's different laws involved with that now.
I didn't know check cashing place existed until I got to train.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
how I
know.
was, that's how I was cashing my checks at.
Me too.
That's
I was-
Some
What they say? I
counselor
was
check.
unbanked. I was
Yeah.
unbanked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's an up north thing. The check cashing spot.
Yeah, those are like the hood cities. They got the
Yeah.
We had to go. What's a joint in Trenton? 5 Points.
Is that what it's called? I don't know. I never
Yeah.
used it.
Wealth.
No, it's not well. I had a job in a bank account. That was what I did. But
Yo, Zoe was the only college student that I ever seen like balancing a checkbook. Like, in college, in the dorm room.
If you had to tell me, get like multiple choice, these are the 4 people who was balancing the checkbook, not who had a checkbook, who was balancing. Like Zoe would be the number one.
He was
number one answer. I know
that's Money Mitch, man. I was taught
He used to
that.
be in the corner
Yo.
balancing his checkbook, bro.
Yo, I would beef at the bank like for my interest. Like, yo, you owe me 12 cents. It says this. Like, but I learned that. That's what I was about to say. Like how Cleveland said his dad had the wallet. My dad, like, who took this dime? I was about to use the dime off the counter. He was about to go make a phone call for later, and you took my dime because the thing went up from 25 to 35 cents to pay for.
Mhm.
Like,
Yo, that's crazy.
like that. I learned that like my dad. I mean, that's what he does for a living. So he's like financial. So he taught me that in 6th grade. I was doing that. Like
6th grade.
I didn't know what a bank account, checkbook. I'd never seen a check in 6th grade.
Bro, I knew my parents had checks. I never seen it though. I never seen it. Zoe was in the joint. Like, I'm like, yo, this dude's in the corner balancing his checkbook. Legit balancing his checkbook.
Like
Calling,
right now, that just
calling
sounds so
Verizon.
old, right? You
it does
just
sound old.
it sounds so old.
Like, what do you mean a checkbook? Like,
Right.
what?
What is that?
Bro, I hate
Checks,
like when
bro.
people come in with they register like, no, but this says I'm supposed to
Oh.
have 2,000 and my account balance says I only got 1,850. You need to find my money. No,
Oh,
you
God.
need to go look at your
Yeah.
statements and figure it out yourself.
Ask that kid in your house what happened. Yeah, nah. I hate when people come to. I hate when I'm behind somebody in the store with a checkbook.
It's
That's at
crazy.
the
It's
register.
so because the thing is, the balance is always correct.
Mm.
Like at least now, I can't speak for 20 years ago. 30 years ago, but now the balance, anyone out there who has a checkbook and they still balancing it and it don't balance, it's your fault.
Your fault.
Hey, yo, mark that one down.
The check,
Mark
the
that
check,
one down.
the check not checking.
Yep. Financial literacy than James's comment.
All right, man. So let's wrap this up. Do y'all think we were successful in discussing what we thought adulting was and how we've closed the gap to understand what adulting is?
I do.
So
I think so.
All right. One question we left on the table was like comparing what you thought you were going to do as a kid to like what you do now, and like
You mean
did
for a
that match
living?
up? Yeah. We ain't got time for that. It would have been a good question, but we ain't got.
Well, I didn't make it to 6'5", so that's
Yeah, and I'm not an NFL player, so
yeah, I'm not a basketball player.
we needed better goals. We need.
I mean, hey,
that tells you, right? On
that's what we saw.
Role models.
Or last week we didn't manifest properly because clearly
I can't manifest my height. I mean, I could have been an exceptional AI or something like that, or Steph Curry, but
all I know is none of us make what a practice player on the NFL makes. So
that is true.
Yep.
Practice squad be making money.
At 6, I could be Earl Boykins.
Oh man! All right, let's get into your favorite segment.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Hey yo, Zoe knows this, Zoe knows that. So light skin, but Zoe stay black.
Yeah. Yes, so Zoe knows I'm light skinned and I stay black. And so is James. I'll allow it today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I am African American.
Yes, I will allow it.
Never mind.
So first up, we had the anniversary. We talked about it earlier, anniversary of 9/11. We spoke on where we were, the tragedy of it, and how there's still remnants of that today. So definitely that's something that happened over the weekend. In the 9/11 games, my Mets beat the Yankees 2 out of the 3 games. So I'm highly happy because they always talking smack. And the Yankees, we had to remind them that Mike Piazza was the one who hit the home run during that same game. So sometimes they forget.
I should have played the Meet the Mets song. I should have had that queued up.
Oh, yeah, you already know. That's my jam.
For the record, in college, Zoe used to call this girl Mr. Mets, and it was hilarious. If you've never seen Mr. Met, Google it.
What was the mascot?
Yeah. I was a bad. You know this person, but we'll talk about that offline.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the VMAs was this past weekend, and I didn't really watch it. I don't know if any of y'all did. I heard a lot of good performances, but I heard it was like super sexual, it was like mad pornographic, and it's very strange.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Rosenberg and Hot 97.
All like performances now, just
it was all sexual stuff.
All sexual.
It was 2 gay sex. There was girl, gay, guy.
Yeah, I mean, it actually used to be all the time too. You had Christina Aguilera, you had Britney Spears, you had Beyonce.
Nah, but people act like, I'm telling you, like
Prince walking around with
girl, like what's that name? Yeah. They're not twins, but the
Chloe and Halle.
Yo, like ass is all out.
Like, her song is called. Her song's about a big ass.
Yeah, I get it, but it's still sexual, like very sexual. It's like heightened,
overt.
Not bootylicious.
That's crazy. My daughter used to listen to them like when they were on the come up. Like she used to watch their YouTube videos with them singing all the time. Mm-hmm. Now it's like I don't know if I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like chill out for a second.
Yeah. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I don't have kids, but they're still good role models because they're not promoting the crazy nonsense. Because the one girl is about to be the Little Mermaid, the other one just became like 22, 23. So she's no. I think she's probably coming into her sexuality.
I think Haley, she's still younger, and
like
she still got the
2
Disney,
years.
Yeah, she still got the Disney that check coming in. So
you seen her today at the Met Gala?
No, I didn't see her today.
She got the little cakes out.
The younger one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but she not. Did you see that performance by her sister and what she puts on Instagram?
Nah,
I still watch,
bro.
I still think. I mean, I've seen clips from the video, but I still think in the lexicon of what's happening, I still think she operates in a very tasteful way.
Okay.
I don't.
Guys, look, Beyonce. Look at Beyonce. Would y'all say Beyonce is tasteful?
So Beyonce.
No. Yes or no? Would you say Beyonce is tasteful? Even at 03.
Yes.
Right. Look at the crazy.
She was like back in the day. She was beyond covered up, right? When she was younger.
Oh, younger, like 23, 24?
Her age. Yeah, her same age.
She was not covered up.
Bro,
it wasn't like it is now.
It's not. What I'm trying to say is even now what Beyonce wear, right? Like her butt is still basically covered. It'll just be like 40. The size that's out.
She's 40.
I understand what I'm trying to say.
We grew up in the era of Beyonce. In my mind, this is not a comparison. Chloe is doing what Beyonce did. She's following her blueprint.
Not
just a different time.
I'm telling you, like, bro, you can't pull a video up right now of Beyonce as basically in a thong, like completely in a thong, all out, performing on stage. You will not find that video.
How much you want to bet?
I got $1 on it.
That's how he keep his money.
I'll raise your 50 cents.
I'll take that. Take $1.50. What I mean like a thong, bro. She wears the joints that like her butt is out, but like the bottom of her butt is out. It's still.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, but I think number one, it's a different time, and number two, in the grand scheme of what's happening between Taylor Swift and Meg Thee Stallion, she's not like at the top.
I'm not saying that. Those are the same thing.
Cardi B.
Listen,
right.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's still the same.
But then you got to
It's
think
still,
the
like
same
it's
thing.
so old.
Oh, you know what? Let me back up, because there's a few things, right? There's performance you, and then there's like the persona you, right? So like Zoe was saying, Prince had his ass out, right? And but
that's wild, yo.
People respected Prince's artistry, even with his cheeks out, even with
bro.
walking around with the ass.
No, but Destiny's Child
like,
did the lap dance joint on the awards, remember? On stage.
Right. It was right. And at that time it was polarizing. It was a different time. You couldn't wear what you wear now then. So I think for us as men speaking about this, we gotta be consistent, because the things that we looked at, we kind of can separate the artist from the performance. Because Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera kissing each other, Madonna.
See, I never watched that, yo.
But it was on. It was on the VMAs.
I didn't watch like that. Well, VMAs to me was like
I wasn't allowed to watch
out of
stuff,
my
bro.
Out of my cultural realm. I didn't watch.
Right? You just
listen.
wait for
Let me be clear.
You just wait for the 5 black performances at the VMAs.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying that she's a bad role model. I'm just saying I gotta watch what my daughter be watching. It's not like I can leave the room when Chloe and Haley are on TV now. Whereas back in the day, it was like, oh, they singing songs together, so cute. But now it's like,
because they're adulting.
Cakes is out. Yeah.
The thing is, I wouldn't. Now that I'm having a daughter, I got to be honest. I don't like if my daughter is 14, right? I don't want her. And listen, you cannot use what one wears as an indication of who they are as a person. I get that. I understand it. But as we talked about earlier, society kind of unconsciously puts things in your mind that makes you react a certain way. And I would hope, and I wouldn't want my daughter to like want to walk around with a thong and her ass be out, because she sees that on TV and that's what she's experiencing.
Oh, just wait until she grows up and sees your wife walk around, and they try to emulate that. Or like getting
in
dressed.
The house.
Oh, yeah, or just getting dressed. Like, oh, what you wearing? Like, oh, what's that? Like, they nosy. Kids is nosy, but that's another time for another story.
But go ahead, Zoe.
Anyway, football season started. I don't think the Giants played yesterday.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
I don't think the Giants played, but
I think they did.
They definitely didn't show up. They played, but they didn't show up.
I didn't see them.
It was just that Broncos got one of the top 5 defenses right now, man. So don't feel bad.
Von Miller decided to like go back to the Super Bowl mind and start wilding. But that's neither here nor there. But yes, the Eagles the only one that won in the NFC, right? Or no, the Washington won too.
Did
Washington won.
The Washington football team.
No, they lost. They lost. Chargers.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay.
I don't watch trashes.
Nah, I don't either. But that's still the conference, the division. You still kind of like keep an eye on.
I barely watched the Eagle game. I was so tired.
I watched it on the plane. Then we have. I don't know if y'all saw this. I don't know if this is like today's news, but I'm a little disappointed in Russell Westbrook's outfit situation.
He had a skirt. You don't like his
skirt? He had a skirt and
he had a blouse.
Jacket and then blue hair. Like, what is we doing?
I didn't see that.
And listen, the Dennis Rodman thing don't work for everybody. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Russell was a fashion icon in a Laker.
It just
was he like walking in New York runways with a fashion week?
No, it's fashion week, but he was outside.
Oh, he was just chilling in the skirt and the blouse.
You ain't see the picture?
Nah.
I'm gonna send it to you right now, and then we'll see.
So he was outside just chilling. He wasn't at an event. He just woke up and said, "I'm gonna put this skirt."
He might have been from somewhere.
He might have been going to an event, but he got pictures on the New York pavement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's probably going to
take a look. Look for yourself.
Fashion week.
He's probably
all the fashion in the world. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, my man had a cardigan on with his meat hair out in his skirt.
His
hair.
meat chest hair.
Taco meat.
Nah, yo, why it look like he floating though in this picture? Like you can't see no feet.
Like a mermaid, like an LTO.
Shut up, yo. Anyway,
so that ain't
I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm gonna leave that alone, but it was something that was in the news and it was
I don't
crazy.
mind. Also, a gay dude hit on me in LA.
I was gonna save that one for next, but go ahead. I was gonna segue into. He did. VAR gave him the. Hey, yo, my man.
You touched his chest, VAR, when you try to keep him away.
No, I kept safe distance because oh yeah.
COVID's still out 6 feet apart.
Got to
right.
Relax.
Yeah, he did try to hit him.
And when I denied him, he told me how his Rolex was two-tone. I said, I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
He tried to keep a conversation going.
Yeah, he tried to.
He had a Balmain bedazzled joint with the sleeves out, and he was he asked me. He said he pulled up. He was like, "You going to Crazy Girls?"
Nah.
No. Why?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going. I'm talking to
VAR,
him at the car.
Yeah, I'm at the car. I'm looking at VAR like, oh nah, this is yo. Then he let it go, but then when they keep going, it's like, all right now.
Yeah, it's like going about yourself.
But I told VAR in his defense, right, as the because he always want to be thinking outside the box and from the other person's perspective. He did try to roll his dice, right? Pause. They say that one in every 10 dudes is gay or something like that, right? Something like that, right? There was only 8 of us, so we were shy 2 numbers. When he saw that it was a whole bunch of dudes, so maybe he thought somebody over here. I'm like, come on, maybe take a chance.
Yo, that was that video I sent y'all, man. Dude was out in LA, went out on the gay date, didn't realize
didn't know.
No, that joke was hilarious.
I would have knew.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. So next we have Gilly the Kid running down the sideline.
Oh my god!
In the football game with Deion Sanders, it was at Jackson State, and I don't know who he was playing. University. But yo, I ain't gonna hold you. Gilly is fast as hell though. He was out with all those 90s clothes on. He was flying, and then he said, I can remember saying, yo, don't cross the line. They kept telling him, don't cross the line. So he ran up the line, and then homeboy gave him the ball. And instead of him he spiked the ball. I'm like, yo.
He got an unsportsmanlike.
You're not even on the team.
Yo,
you're not
but
on the staff.
You know that white line was the wrong white line, right?
Yes.
So it's another white line behind that one. He was like basically the white line that was on the field. Like you need to be behind.
Like the big, he was on the big solid line, the one where they hold the first down.
Right. That's like the legit. Like if you step on that, like you're now considered out of bounds. You're way too close to the field.
Nah, he was wilding. He got to be the first. He got to be the first rapper to get a penalty in a college football game.
For that
definitely
team.
Made history.
Yes, I commend him because he crazy as hell. Yo, Gilly is funny.
I mean, off the sideline, Deion.
Yo, did you see when Deion Sanders was talking to Gilly and he said, yo, he didn't know what happened even though they got the penalty, so he went back and looked at the tape and was like,
yeah,
Gilly.
He was like, on the plane.
He said, that's Gilly running, y'all. I was dying. But lastly, on Zonos, I don't know if y'all gonna watch it or not, but I like music, so there's gonna be a Fat Joe versus Ja Rule versus tomorrow. Everybody talking about how corny it is, but they got bangers, corny, they got hits, they very similar. I think it's a good match because they both got that rap/sing harmonizing secondary vocalists on tracks with them. So I personally think Fat Joe got a little bit more street bangers. But that's just me personally. I would love to root for Ja Rule on some Queen shit, but I really think Fat Joe might have it, especially with the pun catalog.
Nah, it's wild. Fat Joe is different. I actually want Ja Rule to win because I really, really like Ja Rule. I was a Ja Rule fan, but I'm about to play something for y'all. As soon as this plays, I'm going crazy in the house.
Yeah.
It's my joint.
Bring him the towel, you heard?
Y'all remember this?
Yeah.
Y'all remember this?
Right back at you, motherfucker.
I know this. You know my joint.
It's my joint.
My joint is
definitely can't count definitely can't count Ja Rule out. Yo, go to Ja Rule's Instagram page and look at some of his recent live performances. Yo,
I've seen him
they go
live
hard. I was like, I didn't know what kind of matchup that would be, and then I looked at Ja Rule's like past hits. He has a lot of hits for sure.
Thing is, people associate now anyway. I guess after that 50 Cent beef, both of them as being corny, right? So like Fat Joe with Fat Joe now. I think because Fat Joe, right, still came out with songs and stuff like that. But Ja Rule was the last hit he came out with.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. People are just associating them, or Ja Rule maybe, as just being a corny artist now.
Yeah, and but you're gonna put some numbers on the board,
especially people that are younger than us, because obviously we grew up like that was the music. But people who are younger than us that don't really, those songs aren't their hits. They're the ones who watch verses a lot too.
Have y'all heard the Andre 3000 "Life of the Party" verse?
I didn't hear it, but I heard about it.
No,
that didn't make Kanye out. Oh my god!
Nah, so they took him out because it was like a diss or something like that.
After we wrap up, I'm gonna play it for y'all because y'all have to hear it. You have to. But so you anything else?
Well, yeah, no, that's why I said we ended on that. So I'm gonna check it out. Y'all should check it out. I think it's good for the culture. It's good music. Music is music. If you like music, then you should watch it. Period. I don't know. Take the people out of it. Just watch it.
Grab a bottle of Henny and Hypnotic.
I'm not drinking until my birthday. I stopped drinking after this past weekend. Sorry.
Yo, I was legit about to say, didn't your birthday just pass?
No. That was Var's birthday, but
it was ours.
No, okay.
Both ours. It's like both of them.
Both of them. All right, so keep the ball and give us the serenity prayer.
Yes, we're gonna ask God to grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, like adulting, the courage to change the things that we can, like financial literacy, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two, like balancing that checkbook.
We did it, Joe.
Amen.
Word up. And now it's been episode 54 of the Juxtaposition podcast. We'll see y'all next week.